copy paste, definitely you will not remember at all. Write with your hands. And that maza is different. At least you cannot code it. At least we need to write, right? You get the feel of writing code. Okay. Okay, see here. kubectl get here pods. What is the pod here? Riaz, and it is running or not? If you want to know more details about the pod, kubectl not describe. I want the IP address. Get pod -o void. Shit. No, yeah. Usually I don't write that word called void, no. Yeah. So do you understand? Okay, fine. So how to check the logs of the pod? kubectl, similarly, logs pod name. What is the pod name? Do you see? Very, very important to check the logs. If something goes wrong with the pod, so you can see the logs like this. What's the log here? kubectl. What's the command here? kubectl logs and then reas. Can you please log into the pod? This is the command of the Docker container. Command kubectl exec pod name. Okay, hyphen bin bash. I'm inside it. I'm inside the pod called here, Riaz. Okay. I installed which image I have used here to create that pod? nginx. So nginx has a default directory, no? Tell me the default directory. cd usr share. So nginx is there inside that HTML file. So cat index.html. So our nginx welcome to nginx is there. So how we do in the doc, right? We build or we'll pull the image and we'll create a container and we log into the container. Whatever the image that you have pulled, the same image details. I mean, if you have pulled Apache, var www HTML will be there. If you pull the nginx, what is the HTML will be there. So it is similarly working like your containers or not? Same concept, but different. Nice. So if you want to come out of the pod, you just type what? Exit. What do you do here? Exit. List the pods. Keep here, get pods. It's in running state only, right? But if you do the exit or control D in Docker containers, it will be in which state? Stop state. Online clear, delete the pod. kubectl, delete pod, which name? Clear, huh? But this is not the method we will be doing in real time. Is it good to create the pod slightly? What approach is this? What is that called? Imperative. What's the method we call it here? Imperative. So we should not be using the imperative method. Instead, we need to use which method? Declarative method. Which method? So files. What are files in here? Manifestfiles are also with your YAML only. What's that? YAML. You can give any name. Sir, inside Minikube, we create all parts, right? Yes, correct, Harshit. Yeah. Okay, so what do we call here? Manifest file. Now, in manifest file, very importantly, you have 4 parameters. What? 4 parameters. So those parameters are, say with, if you remember this 4, AKMS. AKMS. Tell me again. AKMS. AKMS meaning what? API version, kind, metadata, spec. If you remember this, for the entire manifest file will be developed using these 4 mandatory parameters. How we write Docker file components and how we write Docker compose service names. Similarly, here also we have something called parameters. So can you tell me what are the parameters? So your manifest file will start with the word called API version. Now, what is API version? I'll teach. But what are the 4 components? Can you tell me? API version, kind, metadata, spec. Spec meaning specifications. You can think spec is like launch template. In AWS for auto scaling, all information will launch template. Okay, let's learn. So what's the first one called version? Now the API version is basically, it's a code library. What is that? In Kubernetes, we call it as everything is like an object. What is that? If you want to create a pod, you need to use one API version. If you want to create a service, you need to create another version. If you want to create something else, for everything, what we have a code library. What's that? So most of the time, the code library for creating the pods is V1. What is that? Which is that? V1. And then if you want to create another things, we call it as apps/v1. Say that, apps/v1. What's the code? You have 2 code libraries only. To remember, writing the manifest file, you need to write. And by the way, A should be what? Small letter. V should be capital letter. It is bloody damn case sensitive. How we write in playbook? It's a case sensitive or not? Similarly, this is also like very, very case sensitive. If you just, sir, if you put also a capital letter, then it says that no, it doesn't work. Okay. So API version. So API version used for deployment object. What is the API version that we are using here? Apps/v1 is a stable API version for managing all your deployments. Depending on your Kubernetes object we want to create, there is corresponding code library. For example, if you want to create a pod using manifest file, you have a code library called V1. So what is your API version? You write here what? V1. For what, Nana? To create a pods. If you want to create a service, what is the API version that you use? V1. If you want to create a namespace, what is the version that code library that you use? V1. If you want to create secrets, what is the API version that you use? Code library? V1. And if you want to create, read with me, ReplicaSet. Say that. Say that. One more time. ReplicaSet, because this is very important that we'll be doing. We call it as replica controller also, ReplicaSet also. Replica controller is old one, so ReplicaSet is a new one that we'll be using it. And then for ReplicaSet, what is the code library that we are using? Apps/v1. For deployment, this is a bloody guy that we always do in the, that is the end, that is the best one. That is the best one. Which is the best object that we will be using here? Deployment. So I'll be teaching all these things for you, right? And what is the code library for deployment? Apps/v1. So Nana, tell me here, your manifest file will start with what parameter? API version. Based, so pod is an object or not? Service is an object or not? Network is an object or not? Everything, whatever, namespace is an object. Everything in the Kubernetes that you create, we call it as object. In order to create that object through manifest file, so you have a specific code library for it. Do you worry about what is the code inside that library? No, you just need to mention it. Like in coding also, you import the library side. Python, you import Boto3, right? So Java, you import some libraries. Similarly, here also you need to import. API version is nothing but you are importing the code library. Tell me, for pod, which one you go for? V1. I need to move that way. Huh? This is getting sound. Okay, for the pod, what is the API version? V1. Service, namespace, secrets. For replica set and deployment, Mostly, which is the latest one? Stable version. apps/v1 is the stable version. Okay. So if you want to see the versions, what is the command that we have? kubectl API-versions. Okay, clear. Say that command. kubectl API hyphen very assume that if you don't know which version, you need to put it there. API versions. Do you see this here? So do you get okay, so don't worry about this here, because when we go for Kubernetes, there you see all the versions here. But here, do you see the version here? Which one? Code library apps/v1, and also what we have here, v1. These are the two main code libraries that we use it. So what is the command here to list all your API versions? kubectl API-versions. Inside this, which is the code library that we use all the time, most of the time? v1 and apps/v1. Online, you're getting? Super. So that is the API version. And what is the next parameter here? Say that. Someone asking, sir, what is kind? Okay. Kind meaning what object you want to create. Kind meaning you want to create pod, you want to create namespace, you want to create service, you want to create a network. Everything will write it in the kind. So refers to a Kubernetes object which we want to create. For example, kind. What do you write? Kind. What you'll write? Kind. What you write? Kind. What you write? I want you to say with your mouth, so that these wordings, terminologies will be registered in your brain, right? Kubernetes is little bit hard to inject in your brain, but I'm trying my best. So follow my procedure. Okay. So tell me. So read what is the kind that we use, and then ingress. Don't worry what is ingress. We'll talk about it. But here, pod, deployment, service, ingress, and also there is also something called replica set. Say that. And then also you can call it as a replica controller. What's that? Replica control. So all these things, what you want to create, that is, we refer what? Kind. What we say now here? Kind. What is the next one? AKMS. AKMS meaning what? API version, kind, metadata, spec. What is metadata? Data about data. Data about data. Data, instance metadata. Data about instance is called instance metadata. Pod metadata. Instance about data about the pod, we call it as pod metadata. So additional information about the Kubernetes object. So here kind, you have mentioned as pod, but kind can be anything also or not. So anything detailed information about that particular object, we call it as what? Metadata. Let's say you created a pod. Can I label it? Label is equal to pod name. Metadata about. Data about that particular pod. Not only pod, it can be any object or not. You understand what is the meaning of object here? Object can be a pod, object can be a service, object can be ingress, object can be deployment, object can be replica set, anything. Whatever that you are creating in the Kubernetes is what we call object. Getting it? So to give the entire information about that, we call it as here what? Metadata. And then here, what is spec? What is the last one here? Spec. Spec meaning you are creating the container inside the pod or not? What does it contain? So if you want to create a container, you need to have image information, port mapping related things. Yes or no? Everything will come under spec. Spec is nothing but specifications. You can think of specification. So we are creating the pods, right? And inside that container, so what type of container, which engine, which port you are exposed, which port you are mapping to the host port, everything will come under spec. Is it clear? These 4 mandatory important parameters. API versions, you say with me? API versions, kind, metadata, spec. Okay. So now spec meaning here, it will mention how many replicas that you want to create. Replica meaning what here? Pods. Replica meaning what here? How many number of pods that you want to create. About container, which image you should run, on which port you should expose, labeling the entire deployment, everything will come under which one here? Spec. Metadata meaning information about that particular object that you mentioned. And then the kind meaning what exactly that you want to create. And then API version meaning what is the code library that you want to use. Those are all the things. Got you know? Very important in the for the certification interview. The AWS are only, no? That's why I call it certification. Online, is this clear, Nana? That 4 parameters, please. Online. Super. So should we, don't worry. Don't worry about the deployment. You keep remember that word called deployment, but don't worry about the deployment because I have the topics to reach that deployment. Right? So before that, I need to talk so many things with it. Just hold that deployment concept later. Okay, should we go and write our first manifest file? Yes or no? Online. Okay, so the manifest file will be extension of YAML only. And you can give any name, like how we wrote Ansible playbooks many times. So here also call it as, what do you want to call? Give a name. Give a name. Why Minikube? What are you creating now? You're creating a pod through manifest file. So can I call it pod1.yaml? Any name is fine, right? My manifest file, my first file, whatever you want to give. So I'm calling it what? Pod1.yaml. Okay, see, go to insert mode. I told you what is the first thing that we need to write here? API version, A small letter, V capital letter, colon, space. And if you want to create a pod, what is the code library that you're using? V1. That's it. After API version, what? Very good. You're writing. Kind. What you are creating here? Pod, P capital letter. Next, metadata. Inside the metadata. So here you are creating the pod, right? Pod information is metadata. What is the name of the pod? Pod 1. This is name of the pod. And then what's the next one? Spec. Spec. Under this spec, you are creating what? First you are creating what here? Containers. And then what's the image? So we need to give the image details or not? What's the image? nginx. And what is the name of the container? I call it as container 1. See that? Register in your brain. Yes, correct. Harshit. Ready? Got it? You know, right? How I taught you all the playbooks and everything, right? Let's go. Put your mind, right? Okay, go ahead. API version. Which one? V1 is mandatory all the time, depending on the kind. Exact. Very good. Depending on the, if you are using pod as a kind as a pod, then V1. If you are using kind as a replica set, apps slash V1. For deployment, apps slash V1. Like this, depend on the kind. So you need to change the API version. Okay, API version. Next, kind. Which one? Pod. Next, metadata. Inside the metadata, we need to give the name of the pod. Next, spec. Containers. And then here, image. Which image? Nginx. Next, name of the container. Container 1. Save it. Okay. So what we need to do? We need to run this file or not? How we wrote Ansible playbooks and then write Ansible -playbook and then writing it. So here also, what's the command that you use? First of all, kubectl, and then you can say create. Say that. You can say create also. You can say apply also. Anything is fine. But let's go first with what? Create -f meaning file, and then which file? Pod1.yaml. This is how you run it. Let's go. See, pod got created. Previously, we created the pod through the imperative, right? Through the command. Same output you got, pod slash pod1 created. Now I created the same pod with what? Manifest file. Can you tell me the how Harshit file, F meaning file. So here, can you tell me a command to go more details about this pod? Kubectl. You can go for get pod -o wide also. And then I go for your describe pod. Which one? Pod 1. Do you see this entire information? Started the container. What is the container name I have given? Container 1. Created container. What's here? Nginx. And inside that, and the pod 1 got created. Got it, Nana? Okay, how to list that? kubectl get pods. One pod is running. Delete the pod. kubectl delete pod 1. I deleted. Once the pod is deleted, it is deleted. Good, Good, If you deleted the container in the Docker swarm, what happened? If you deleted a container in the Docker swarm, what did happen? Self-healing or not? What it does? It will create it automatically or not? It will create it automatically. But here, kubectl get pods. Once the pod is deleted, it is deleted. Good. Bad. So for that, we need to go with something else or not? What we need to have? We need to have a high availability or not? We need to have a high availability. In order to have a high availability, so we need to use something called ReplicaSet. What we need to use? Say that again. ReplicaSet. So do you remember ReplicaSet is also another kind or not? Is another type of a kind. So where you can use this ReplicaSet. So this ReplicaSet will help you to set up this what? High availability. Guys, this is for fun. I have given cube color. So do you have any colors here? No. If you want to see it in color, you can install this cube color and then cube color get pods. You can play with it. Okay. Don't worry about day 2. This is not day 2. Okay. So now if any pod deleted, it is deleted. Do you have any HA? For high availability, use what? Replica set. Also call it as RS. Say that. Okay. See here. This is used to manage multiple replicas of pods to perform this like what? Load balancing and what? Auto scaling. So if you want to set up load balancing, right, similarly like Docker Swarm, if you want to set up here load balancing and then auto scaling, which is a concept that you can use, go for here, replica set. Now, before this, you have replica controller also. Let's hold on. Both are same only. But let's go with what here? Replica set. So what it do? It will create the replicas of the same pod or not? In Docker Swarm also what we did? We created the service and then it created multiple containers with the same name or not? Replicas. It will create a multiple replicas. Here also, replicas is nothing but it will create the multiple pods with the same application. Nice. So we can use the same application within the multiple pods. Even if one pod is deleted automatically, it will create the another pod. And what it says, it has self-healing mechanism. So depend upon the requirement, what we can do, we can scale the pods. So what we do is here, we don't create the pods now. What we create a replica set. Replica set will create the pods. Docker Swarm also we did the same. We create a service and that service has created multiple containers. Here also we create what? Replica set, and replica set will create what? Multiple pods. And here in this replica set, two important things that you need to know. What is this here called? Say that here. Labels. So guys, AKMS, API version, kind, metadata, spec. And also you have what here? Labels and selectors. Say that. Labels and selector. Remember, replica set, replica controller. Say that. Replica set, replica controller. Both are same or not? Both are is almost same, but replica controller doesn't have these fields, labels and selector. But I'll tell you what is labels and selector. See, labels meaning here, simple label. What is label? For identification purpose, yeah? Label is for what purpose? Yes or no? So as we are, see, very important, because the same thing I'll get it in the manifest file. Listen carefully. As we are creating multiple pods, yes or no? Guys, I wrote with my hands here to make you understand. As we are creating multiple pods with the same application. So you have so many pods with the same application or not? All pods have different names. Is it possible to have the same name for the pods? Is it possible to have a container ID is unique or not? Here also pod ID will be the unique. So all pods have different names, but application is same. Application is same, but pod names are different. You need to group it, no? You need to, otherwise how do you know? If you want to group all of them where have all the same applications, then we will label it. What we will label it. So in this Kubernetes also, I'll use the same HDFC project. HDFC project is related. So we'll label it or not? Internet banking, can I label it? Mobile banking, can I label it? So for entire project, can I label it as bank? Label meaning grouping it and giving a name. Vivek, how label is different from namespace? Namespace concept is completely different. Label meaning you are just labeling for identification purpose. Whereas namespace is completely isolated area. Vivek, you be in your own space. I will be in my own space. I have my customers. I label it. You have your customers. You label it. In your namespace, my namespace. But are we having different namespace now at the moment? We have only one namespace. Which one is that? default namespace. We are using what? Default. Let's not get the namespace. Namespace, names, both are same or different? Same or different? Different. Both are completely different. See, individual pods are difficult to manage because they have the different names. So we can give a common label to the group them and work with them together or not. Let's say I'll give a label called internet banking. If I say, hey, list internet banking pods, all pods will say present sir or not. If I have 10 pods, let's say I have 50 pods running. 50 pods will be running same application. No. But 10 pods are having one application, 10 pods another application, 10 pods another application. But I don't know. Pod names will be different. I don't know which pods has the same application. Then simply what I can say, hey, very, very, very important labeling. Okay, next what? So it is used to select pods with the, now this one is I'm labeling it. To select all those things, I use what? Selector. I have a label called internet banking. I have a label called mobile banking. So if I want to list it, can I use a selector and then list it or not? Select means selector meaning selecting particular label. Got it? Got it, Nana? Online, is this clear till here? Everyone online, remember if you take out your headset for 1 minute also, if you come back, you don't understand. Huh? Labels? We'll write yes. Metadata. Metadata meaning data about that particular kind, right? So we will write the label inside the metadata. We'll write now. Okay, super Nana. What is the command to find my API code libraries? What is the command to list all my code libraries? API versions. TL API hyphen versions. Okay. So now, which code library our replica set is using? Which one? app/v1. I want you to super concentrate. If you concentrate on this one manifest file, most of the Kubernetes will write the same manifest files only. Okay. So please concentrate. Very, very important. Should we go and write one manifest file now? Bigger one. One by one, I'll write. Okay. What I write? Replica set.ym. I can give any name. No need to give only replica set. I can give any name. Insert. Okay, let's go. API version. What's the API version? That's it. app/v1. Because what is the kind I'm using? What's the kind I'm using? Replica set. What's the kind I'm using here? R is capital letter. S should be capital letter. Understood? Super. Okay, next what is we have? Metadata. Inside the metadata, we need to give the name, right? So name, what is this here? This is a replica set, right? Can I give the name for my replica set? Your wish. I call it as, let's take our first service in HDFC. Which one is that? Internet banking. Can I call it as IBRS? RS meaning what? Replica set. Otherwise, if I want to list my replica set, I need to write internet banking. So instead of that, I'll write IBRS. Nice. And here, IBRS, can I say it's a name of my replica set or not? What is the name of my replica set? Louder, online, put in chat. What is the name of my replica set here? In this replica set, I'll have so many. And should I label them? Here I'll write what here? Labels. All the pods I label as your key is what? App. And then I call it as here bank. You can give any name. What's the label I'm saying here? App. My label is app is bank. Getting it now? I'll go slowly. Metadata is clear. So I'm giving the entire information about the replica set. So metadata is the information about this replica set. What is the name of the replica set? IB-RS. And what is the label I have given for my replica set here? Bank. Okay. After metadata, what I have? Spec. What's that? Spec. Spec meaning here, this is the specification for your pods. What does spec mean here? Specification for your pods. How many replicas you need? What is replicas meaning here? Number of pods. How many pods you want? 2, 3. Let's so. Chalo, 3. That meaning how many pods will be created? 3 pods will be created. Okay, very good. And then in the spec, as I'm using replica set, I can use something called here selector. Say that. In this selector, we have something called match labels. Say that. Match labels. So inside this match labels, I have something called app as bank. Okay, see here, guys. Please try to understand that. What I wrote in the spec. Yes, Harshit, correct. So here, specs, how many pods I'm creating? 3 pods. How many pods I'm creating? And selector and all the pods, they should match which label? Yes or no? Which label? So in this replica set, in this Kubernetes, if anyone created a pod with a label called app as bank, that will come under this replica set. That meaning you are matching. So you are creating the pods, 3 pods, and all these 3 pods should match which one? App as bank. And inside that, I'm writing something called here, say that template. So this template will set for this. Inside this template also what we have here? Metadata. Inside this metadata also what I have here? Labels. So what is the label I'm using here? App as bank. So what is this template is doing is whatever the pods that you are creating, 3 pods, all those 3 pods you are matching a label called, not matching, you are setting a label called app as bank. You're creating a label for it. Template. Now, how many pods are getting created here? 3 pods. Can I create 30 pods also? For all 30 pods, I need to maintain the label as app bank or not. So that means I need to provide a template for it. Hey pods, if you are creating 30 pods, a replica set, you are creating 30 pods. For all 30 pods, use this template. What is it in that template? What I'm writing? Metadata. What is the label I'm giving? App as bank. So for all 30 pods, bank label will be attached. That's what I said. Template. Just before I told you launch template, no? Similarly here also we have so for all these replicas, it uses this template. This is clear. I'll be using the same manifest file multiple times. This is clear. Yes. Yes, you can. Is there any pod already exists with the same label? Then what happens? If the pod is there, that will come into this replica set in this IBRS. If any pod is there with the label called app bank, so that will come under IBRS replica set. Don't worry. Next, what we have inside that also, I'm writing what? Spec. Inside this specs, I'm creating what? Containers. What's the container? Hyphen. What's the container name? Container 1. And then image. Which image I'm using? Let's say I'm using my own image. Trainer ria slash IB image colon. Which one? Latest. See this ones. Okay, let's do one thing. I wrote everything for you here. See, let me make it simple for you. 100% it is clear for you till here. Okay, na? I'm seeing API version. What is API version? Apps v1. What's the kind I'm using? Why I'm using replica set? For high availability purpose. Metadata. So I need to. So I'm using the kind as replica set. I need to give the name of the replica set. All right. So what is the? So if I want to give the name and details about it, so what is the field that I should use? Metadata. Data about this particular replica set. What is the name I'm using? ABRS. And what's the label I'm putting for this replica set? App bank. Okay. Next, spec meaning specification. This specification is for what? Pods. How many replicas? That meaning how many number of pods. Next, when you're creating these replicas, so we are using what here? Selector and saying what? Match labels. What it says? Ensure only pods with label app bank are part of this replica set. Any container, so any pod which is having the label app bank, that will be under IBRS. Match label. Okay, let's do one thing. You're all who students? I'm attaching a label. I'll tell the admin in the ground floor, whoever has a brand in the back, Pushpa brand, Riyasar brand, that so everyone should have the brand on their neck. That's a label I'm putting. What brand I said? DNA. Nice name. What is that? Those. So I am putting a label called DNA on everybody neck. Then I'll tell to this guy, admin. Admin is nothing but replica set. Admin is nothing but replica set. Okay. Replica set name is IBRS, and what is that layer? DNA. Now, you guys are coming. You guys are so many people. Assume 50 people are coming. All 50 people are pods only. You're all, who are you? Who are you, Jaya? Shravani, pod, Siddu, Karthik, everyone, Subhashu. Everyone, you're all who? Pods. With all of you students, so many other data science students will also come or not? Other DevOps trainer also will come or not? Trainers are also, the students will come, right? How will you identify differently? Using DNA. Using what? Yes or no? So then I'll tell to my admin, who is matching the label DNA, send it to the 202 room. That is nothing but match labels. Anyone, not only you 50, some other 50 also will come with the label DNA. They'll all come under me. Me meaning here IBRS. Now I understood. Huh? That's the best I can do. Okay. Yeah. So that is called here what? Match. And now you see, ensure only pods with only pods with label app bank are a part of this replica set. If there is any pod with label bank, it will be a part of this replica. If any student who is having that tattoo DNA label DNA, he is a part of Reaser family. That's it. Understood? Now you guys are creating, right? So pods are getting created, and all if you pods, you should have the DNA tattoo or not. So here is nothing but template is as telling this template, you are creating the pods here, right? The replica set is creating the pods, and it will make sure that it has a label called app bank. So I'm telling you, hey students, all of you, if you want to join in my class, you should have a label called DNA. You are putting the DNA, right? That's nothing but template. Make sure that every pod will have a DNA, or every pod should have a, and then it contains what? Obviously containers. What the replica is creating? Pods. Pod can create what? Containers. Now see this very nice. Is it clear now? Online, clear Nana? Thank you. Okay. Everyone CC? Clear? Super. Okay. Image. This is the image with it. So where is this my image? Docker Hub. I told you, no, the image is in the Docker Hub. It will pull from the Docker Hub. So should I go and save it? And should I go and create it now? So what's the command to create? kubectl create, run forget. Run is manually, that is imperative. This one is declarative. So kubectl create -f, which one? Replica set.yaml. Created. Created. How many pods got created? What's the command? kubectl get. What's the status? Container creating. If you do one more, now it is running. That is state pending running. So container creating running. You have a different status also. Sometimes you'll get error. What is that? Crash loop, loop back something, you get it, right? So that meaning if it's not able to create the, let's not talk about it. So those are all errors that you get something. If the container didn't create it properly, so you will get the errors. Yes, we did. I told you, can you use apply also instead of create here? Yes or no? I told you, kubectl, you can create also, you can apply, both are same. Guys here, understood here? Bibek is saying, sir, if we delete anyone, will it self-fill and recreate it? देखेंगे? You देखते? Huh? Okay, let's देखेंगे. Okay, so before that देखेंगे, so what we do is, Vidit always will get इतना ही KT मिला sir pod के बारे में. Good, because yeah. Okay, so what is the command to list the pods? kubectl. Huh? What is the command to list the pods? kubectl get pods. What's the command to list the replica sets? kubectl get replica set. If you are lazy, give my name. Yeah, give my name. No, shortcut. Riaz Sheikh. RS. I just got now only that. Okay. So yeah. kubectl get replica set. So in shortcut, you can go for RS also. Replica set. Riaz set. Yeah. So do you see this? What is the name of the replica set here? IB-RS. Yes or no? So we have given this here. IB-RS. Forget about the kind. The kind is replica set. What's the name of the replica set here? IBRS. That's why here it's showing IBRS. So desire capacity, current. What is the current capacity here? It is 3. And desire is also 3. Current is nothing but actual capacity, desire capacity. Remember in auto scaling, we learned actual capacity, desire capacity. Actual capacity meaning how many you have. Desire capacity, how many wish you can have. Right? Exactly. Okay. So if you want to, okay, now tell me a command. I want to know more details about this replica set. More details. Use hypho wide. kubectl get. Previously we used pods, no? Here we use what? RS. Hyphen O. That's it. I'm careful. You see this here? What is the replica set here? IBRS, desert3, readily 3, how many minutes back? And what are all the container names? Container 1, because I have given the name of the containers. And then what is the image? Oh, what is the selector here? Now, if Karthik comes, logged into the machine, he created a container, he created the parts, and he has given a bank selector, label as app is equal to bank. Those he created parts also will come under my replica set or not? That is what selector was. Any parts which has given app is equal to bank label, match label, that's what I wrote here. Match labels. So that will come under IBRS. Understood? Okay. Now I want to know more information, description about my replica set. kubectl, describe, very good, RS, name of the IBRS. See, successfully replica set controller. I told you, no, replica set controller. Both are same or not? Both are same. So these are the pods that got created. And this is the image that got created. How many running? 3 running, 0 waiting, 0 succeeded, 0 failed. So what's the name of the replica set? IBRS. What is the namespace? What's the selector it uses? What's the label it uses? How many replicas? And how many it is in state now? Super. How many pods are there now? Huh? How many pods are there? How many pods? 3 pods. Replicas have given manifest file. How many? 3. Can you tell me what's the command to list the pods? kubectl get pods. Do you see 3 there? Okay, now if you see kubectl get pods. Oh yeah. Time passes, yeah. But few more minutes, okay? We will complete this in between, okay? A few more minutes. See here, kubectl get pods. If I list it, does it showing any label? Tomorrow class is there. Do we have any labels here? So if you and me create also, Karthik, you created 50 pods. Sid, you created 20 pods. I also created 50 pods. All these 130 pods will get listed over here or not? But I want to list only my bank pods. I want to list only my bank pods. How do you do it? Hyphen what here? Show labels. Say that here. Show labels. You see this here? Labels. So it will list all the pods and it will show also the labels. By seeing this, now you can easily understand. But can you understand with the pod ID here? No, you cannot understand using the pod ID. By seeing the labels, you can understand, oh, all these pods are related to bank. I gave bank. Can I give internet banking also there? I can give internet banking also. Okay. Now someone asks, sir, show me the self-healing. Show me the self-healing. So self-healing meaning what here? If you delete the pod, automatically get recreated or not? Obviously. So to show you that how it will get recreated, you can see the parallel tracking. What's that? Live tracking. See, Can I open another window for this? Duplicate tab. One more terminal. Okay. Sudo hyphen. Yes. One more terminal. Okay. Now here give the command kubectl get pods hyphen hyphen watch. Say that hyphen hyphen watch. How many are running? Let's come back to our. How many are running here? Now delete one pod. What's the command? Kubectl delete. Delete pod. Should I delete this? Okay. If I delete this, see what is happening here. What is happening here? Now see here. First, it will create a. First, it will do the self-healing, and then only it will get terminate. So first, what will happen? It will create a new container, and then it will see. Oh, sorry. See, it is taking a lot of time to stop or not, to delete or not. It is taking a lot of time to delete the pod. Why? Because backend Kubernetes is creating a new pod first, and then it is deleting the this pod. Do you see here? Forget about that error, no problem. Right? Do you see what it says here? First, it is pending. That meaning what? It is creating the container or not? And then what is doing? It is terminating it. So please keep this in mind that whenever you delete. Okay, now if I do kubectl get pods, how many I should get? I should get 3 or not? 3 are back. Previously, 2CBFF was there, but 2CBFF is not there. Now it new pod. Self-healing or not? Understood? What is that command? Hyphen O wide. Tell me. Hyphen O wide. kubectl get pods hyphen O. Vivek is asking, sir, IP address will be same or it will be different? How come it will be same? IP address will change or not? Whenever the pod is deleted, obviously new IP will get it. If you want to see the IP address, if you use hyphen O wide. Vivek. So if accidentally, if you go and manually delete it, it will heal it. Otherwise, you scale out and scale in. What's that here? Scale out and scale in. So if you do scale out scaling, let's do scale out and scaling. Okay. Yes. Got it, no? Okay. See here, guys. Now, let's do. Can you please? Okay. Let's do the scale out. What is that? Let's do the scale out. What is the command to do the scale out? Tell me here. Say with me. kubectl. What we say? Scale. What you want to scale? Replica set. What is the name of the replica set? IB hyphen RS hyphen hyphen replicas. How many you want to scale? 10. Boom. Done or not? kubectl get. All are creating. Any port conflicts, any issues, any problems? Now I'm manually creating it, auto scaling. I mean, manually I'm scaling out. Manually I am scaling out. So automatically also we can do it. That concepts coming, the concepts are coming it. But here I'm doing what? Manually scale out. Can I scale in also? So all are running now. See, all are running. How do you scale in? Simply put, again, how much? 2 is very bad now. Let's go with what? 5. Get pots. See, all what are rest of the things? They are terminating and then it keeping only how many only? Only 5. Guys, is this clear? This is manually, I am, yes, we are terminating. Scaling meaning terminating only, no? Yes, correct. So here we are manually scaling out and then scaling it. Is this clear till here? I'm not taking more time because I need to finish this topic. Okay. Yeah. Clear. So guys, if you see watch, do you see all are getting creating and pending terminated or not? Yeah. Okay. Now, what is the image I'm using here? Internet banking -image from Docker Hub. Whenever the new containers are getting created, how does the replica set knows which image it should take it? In the manifest file we have given or not? Yes or no? Replica set. In manifest file I have given the image. That's the reason why whenever the replica set is creating a parts, it is using the same image. Now, I'll tell you the problem with replica set. I'll tell you the problem and I'll finish it off. The problem with replica set is this. I want to update the application. I want to update the application. Let's say internet banking is there. I want to change it to what? Which image? Mobile banking. Should we change it and see? Before that, let me write a command to see all the, which is the image that it is using? Internet banking, right? Okay. See, I'm writing here kubectl. Which one? Describe pod -l meaning our label. What's the label? App is equal to bank grep -i image. Guys, do you see what is the image it is using here? IB, 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 IB. All are using IB or not? How many containers? We are having 5 containers. All 5 containers are having IB images or not? Now I want to change the image. Basically, I want to roll out the new update. I need to edit my image or not? So what's the command to edit it here is kubectl. What's that here? Edit. Which one you are editing? Replica set. What is the replica set? Name of the replica set? IBRS. This is how you edit the replica set. Don't create, don't edit our replica YML file. Right? If you edit the YML file and create it, it will create a new replica set. If you want to edit the existing replica set, you need to use this command. See here, if I edit it, do you see this here image? I change this to which image? MB. I changed. I changed. My replica set should identify that and then it should launch a new parts with the new image or not. But that will not happen. kubectl get all are running aram se. But I have changed the replica set. Did it modified? That is the problem with replica set. That's a problem with replica set. It will not modify. It will not roll out the application. That's why people don't use replica set much. In order to, if I edit it, I change to mobile banking image. What is my expectation now? It should terminate my existing parts and then create a new parts with which image? Mobile banking. That will not happen. This will happen with the next kind called deployment. Which one? Deployment. So what is the kind that I should be using? Deployment. In order to roll out your application nicely and carefully, which is the kind that we should use? Deployment, not replica set. Is this clear? Understood? Online? Online now? Clear? So if you use just, if you want to edit, Dinesh, if you just need to edit kubectl edit replica set, which is the replica set? IB-RS. But if you go and do this, VI, our YAML file, here you remove and put MB, it will not work. So if you do here MB, You have changed the file. That's it. Will there any difference? If you change the file, you have to create again new replica set. Yes or no? What is the command that you should do? kubectl create or apply -f replica set. Then it will. Then what will happen? It will update, but it will not. Let's see here. But it will not have all the pods will not have the same image. All the pods will not have the same image. I'll stop it here. It is going too much, right? But you understand till here? So you understand the problem with replica set, guys? What I want is I clearly wrote everything in the notepad. So please go through it. Try to understand all these things again. And then tomorrow we'll go with which kind? Deployment kind. Online? Is this clear, Nana? So we can do the self-healing in replica set? Yes. Can we do scale out scaling in replica set? Yes. But can we do the rollout roll-in in replica set? No. Rollout meaning here updating the application. Not possible. For that, what is the thing that we need to use? Deployment. Replica set replication controller. Same or different? Same. The only difference is that match label is there. No. That is not there in the replica controller. You tell me which one is better, replica controller, replica set? Replica set. Because replica can't create the reports, but you cannot do the match specs field and then match labels. You cannot do it in the replica controller. So that's why we use directly what? Replica set. Okay, good enough. After edit RS, we could have kubectl get for any update. No, it will not work. So Anup, if you edit directly kubectl edit rs ibrs, it should automatically pick up. My replica set should automatically pick up that I have edited, and it should terminate it. It should launch the new pods, but it is not happening. That is the problem with replica set. But you modified vi replica set.yaml. And then, okay, tell me how to run this replica set. kubectl create -f replica set. What it says? Can you roll out now? IBRS is already there, no? If I do kubectl get, what's that? RS. IBRS is already there. Can you edit replica set YML and then create another one? No. So you need to change IBRS to something else. Then it will create a new replica set again. But I don't want new replica set. I want on the existing one to get updated. Will that be working here? That is the problem with replica sets. Got it, Anup? Yeah. So guys, we'll do that, Harshit. We'll do that. Okay. Now we have crossed a lot of time. So is this clear till here? We'll able to do the practice. I'll update that in the Google Classroom. Please. Again, I'm saying, again, I'm saying, if you have done the practice by tomorrow, the next concept you'll understand. Because next everything is interrelated or not? Interconnected. Please complete the practicals 2, 3, 4 times. And then come. So hardly it will be few. Explanation I took a lot of time, but commands are only few, only we used it. So please try to do it. And then tomorrow we'll go with which kind? Deployment kind. Okay. Online, can you get the final CC for today, please? Great. So that is all for today. Let's connect tomorrow with very kindly we'll talk about the kind deployment. That's all, guys. Take care and see you tomorrow. Good night. Bye-bye.